All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Coby's Brain. It is great to see everyone here today. But before we get started, don't forget to give it up for our good friend, Ron Roach. On the drums. Never lets us down, that guy. Don't forget about Coby on the keys and our alien gang. Root on guitar. We got Cruncher and we got Mortis. Love to see it. We got a great show for you today. Truly a very excellent, exciting show with a lot of new content, and even more exciting, we have a special musical guest today. Paper Penguin is here with us. Paper Penguin is the next biggest artist in hip-hop, so we are honored to have him. So before we get we're going to get started with Coby's entertainment blog. All right, we are going to start out by talking about the Eurovision Song Contest, the Story of Fire Saga movie. It is a Netflix movie, came out very recently, 2020, directed by David Dobkin. So this movie is about, it stars Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams as Icelandic musicians competing in the Eurovision Song Contest. So I read that this was actually originally going to be a movie that with a release that coincides with the actual Eurovision Song Contest. But because that got canceled due to COVID, they just released it on Netflix. It's a comedy, pretty funny. Basically, McAdams' character is in love with Ferrell's character and hopes that a victory in the contest will result in them falling in love. And Ferrell just really has his heart set on winning. They're obviously, not musicians, Ferrell and McAdams, and so it's kind of a classic underdog story. We pretty entertaining. Some, I guess, vaguely about Icelandic culture. I'd be curious to hear someone who's actually from Iceland's perspective on the movie, because it definitely, makes fun of Iceland a little bit, but it's funny, and it makes fun of, belief in elves and that kind of thing. But it's a pretty funny movie, pretty interesting. I certainly learned a little bit more about the Eurovision Song Contest from watching it, and it was amusing and also funny how they talked about how annoying Americans are to Europeans, and made me a little curious, I guess, about the Eurovision Song Contest. So, pretty good movie. We gave it a 6.8. Not a great rating. It's not the funniest movie I've ever seen. It's certainly amusing, but I wouldn't say it's a must-watch. But if you have Netflix and you got some extra time on your hands, go for it. Next up, we are going to be talking about Solo, a Star Wars story from 2018, directed by Ron Howard. So, Han Solo, Chewbacca, and Lando Calrissian's origin story, but mostly Han Solo's origin story. It's the second film in the Star Wars anthology series. The first one was Rogue One, and yeah, the Rogue One was amazing. Shout out Rogue One. This movie, not quite as good, but still pretty interesting. So, it took place 10 years prior to Star Wars, the original Star Wars movie, when the Republic has fallen, the Empire is taking over, the Sith is prevalent in the galaxy, and so basically Han, joins a band of coaxium thieves along with Chewbacca, and they get the help of Lando Calrissian. The cast is pretty incredible. We got what's her name? Daenerys from Game of Thrones. She's great. We got Childish Gambino is in this. Donald Glover. He's great. But also Woody forgot his name. Great cast though, really incredible cast, and decently entertaining movie. I always appreciate a good movie that expands the Star Wars universe, but basically wasn't that good. The ending was kind of, I won't spoil the ending, didn't really make a lot of sense in the context of the other Star Wars movies. Definitely not my favorite Star Wars movie I've ever seen. Gave it a 7.4. Not great, but still pretty good, you know. And it's definitely something you gotta see though if you're a Star Wars fan. I'm a big Star Wars fan, especially now that you can just watch everything on Disney Plus. So you might as well check it out. Gives you a little bit more context for that wonderful Star Wars universe. Awesome. Next up, we have Season 8 and Season 9 of How I Met Your Mother. So, I've been watching this show for quite some time, and I'm a huge fan of this show. It's really funny, and especially with Season 8 and 9, it's extremely touching. Like, super touching. Coby cried a number of times while watching this, especially towards the end, and that ending, wow. It's a little less, these two seasons are a little less funny than previous seasons, but it really does do a great job of wrapping the show up. I was super content with the ending. Very entertained throughout the entirety of watching the show. Just can't say enough good things about How I Met Your Mother. Was crying pretty hard at the end. And yeah, do we have any Himium fans in the audience? We got Amanda Peanut. Shout out Amanda Peanut. A great co-viewer of Himium. And yeah, so the final rating that we ended up giving the final 2 seasons of How I Met Your Mother, 8.4. We love it. We love this show. We love this show. If you haven't seen it, it's a good watch. A lot of random insights about life and everything, so definitely recommend. And Amanda in the comments is saying definitely less funny than previous seasons, of course. But we had a lot of growing up to do for the characters. We had to wrap this show up, or they had to wrap this show up, and I think they did a great job of doing so. So yeah. All right. Next up, we have The Mandalorian, created by Jon Favreau. Basically, The Mandalorian, speaking of content that expands the Star Wars universe, Mandalorian is a great example. So, Season 1 came out this year, 2020. It's about the show is about a Mandalorian bounty hunter named Din Djarin. And so the film takes place 5 years after Return of the Jedi and 25 years before The Force Awakens. So at this point, the Empire has been destroyed. The New Republic but there's still some remnants of the Empire. Bad news. New Republic has taken over. And yeah, it fits in pretty well with everything else going on and really does a great job of expanding the universe. Jon Favreau, great guy, has done some pretty amazing work with conceptualizing this series. It's basically just about the Mandalorian's hired to find a child, and that child ends up being Baby Yoda, who is literally so cute. He's so cute. Look at that thing. Can you see him up there? Look at that. Oh my goodness. Look at how cute he is. That made the whole show for me, honestly, how adorable that Baby Yoda was. And it's a great show about the Mandalorian, a previously very selfish bounty hunter who ends up having to kind of play a father role. And so it's kind of a show about fatherhood in a lot of ways. Talks about the distinction between nurture versus nature. Really interesting show. Parts of it, there were a lot. I think it would have been better as maybe like a movie, personally. That like there were a lot of kind of parts of it that just didn't really contribute to the narrative, the central narrative. But you know, they had to do 8 episodes, and they did a great job with those 8 episodes. So shout out Jon Favreau. Shout out Lucasfilms. Shout out Unreal Engine, Virtual Production. And yeah, in the chat we're seeing there's only 1 season. There is currently 1 season. Second season is in production, and there's actually going to be a 3rd season as well. There's definitely a lot of suspense for what's going to happen next. So definitely, if you have Disney Plus, watch The Mandalorian. It's great. We love it here at Coby. Baby Yoda. If not for the action and the Star Wars fandom, literally just watch it because Baby Yoda is adorable. All right. Now we have a very, very special guest on the show. Give it up for Paper Penguin. The next big artist in the world of hip-hop. All right, what's up? This is Paper Penguin. This is my first time performing on Coby's Brain. It is my big honor to have the opportunity to perform on this show. It's always been a dream of mine. So here we go. Yeah, Paper Penguin. Here on Coby's Brain for the first time. Thanks for having me. Shout out Coby's Brain. Yeah. Paper Penguin on the track. All you other rappers whack. Like a polar bear, I'll attack. I'll eat you for a snack. Paper Penguin gets these racks. Money I do not lack. Paper Penguin never slacks. Paper Penguin a maniac. Yeah. Born in the South Pole. I hit my ops with that pole and put them in a 6-foot hole or eat them like a spring roll. I'm fed up with these ozone holes, so you better quit using coal. But if you lack self-control, just remember I got shooters on my payroll. Yeah. Thanks for having me today, Coby's Brain. Hopefully I'll be on other episodes, but follow me on SoundCloud, Paper Penguin on SoundCloud. Follow me. I think that's our show today, so thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you on future weeks. Shout out Coby's Brain. Paper Penguin out.